Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to give you first this piece of news from this Reddit article, which quotes this: Litecoin is more alive than ever. And this is the message. The Litecoin network has processed its 340 millionth transaction, having hit 300 million back on the 8th of January 2025. This means that 12% of all Litecoin transactions since 2011 have occurred in 2025. And this is seen as proof that Litecoin is accelerating. You know, if you've been watching this space, if you've been watching Litecoin specifically for the past couple of years like I have, it's really, especially this year at least, in a lot of people's eyes, been seen as not really that popular of a coin, not really something that's moving very much. But then you look at the past couple of days, past couple of weeks as well, and you see that trend really start to change. This is just a chart from July. You can see, yes, we initially had in the earlier months of the year, we had this downtrend, coming from a price of roughly 104, going as low really as 77, 76 maybe. This was around the point where I was lucky enough to pick up somewhere around here. But now you've seen that trend obviously start to change in quite rapid succession. We're now well back above the 100 mark. Obviously we had a point where we're nearly touching that 106 mark. It was previously a resistance, now becoming a support. And we're now seeing Litecoin prices obviously well above 120. The current price being 120, 191. Obviously Litecoin going up significantly in the last month or so. It really is quite impressive to see. A lot of people though wondering what is the future with this one, and of course it's impossible to say with any degree of certainty, so please do remember that, of course. But the trend that we are seeing here is really quite decent. And yeah, when you look at this on the 1 month chart, obviously it looks quite significant. On the 3 month chart, looking quite significant. Even on the 6 month chart, you're seeing this broad trend in the right direction. But look out to the year to date, look out even further than that, and you'll see something which is a lot more telling. So first I want to start personally on the year to date. And the point is, yes, this is a decent rip for Litecoin, and we've been seeing this really happening since April, where Litecoin hit its most recent lows, which was below even 67, right? So it was about 67, 66, something like that. So we've seen this low here. Then we saw a little bit of a rise, obviously dropping from there. My point is, to briefly summarize what I'm trying to say without going into too much detail, this is not as unprecedented as many people see it as being. A lot of people wondering why the rise is so large, especially people who are paying attention for the first time. In the broad scheme, it isn't. At the same time, a lot of people are getting their hopes up, in my opinion, a little bit too much, questioning whether we're going to see breakouts past the 200 mark, the 300 mark, the 400 mark. It's kind of crazy. Now, at the same time, I would like to remind you that, we're not even really outside of what we consider to be the next breakout stage. Come back to that year-to-date chart, you're going to see that we're now almost very nearly hitting previous levels of resistance. Coming up to that 130 mark, 126 even, we've seen obviously the price bounce off of this previously way back here in February, and we've seen it bounce off here right back now. The question is, can we break past there? That for me, 127, I would say 127.30 roughly, 127.40 maybe, that is going to be the next level to watch on the upside. If we can break past that, then we may have some great potential here. If we can't, then we could be looking to retest levels in the 120 mark, but obviously possibly even down to the 106, 107. Do bear in mind that this recent jump, this recent price increase, has not really had enough time to fully consolidate. You could argue that we're in the process of witnessing that now. However, it's a process, right? It is absolutely a process. So we're going to have to see what happens here before we have any definitive knowledge, any definitive look as to what comes next. But if we can break past this level here, that would be absolutely important and absolutely key. Now, the next point that I want to make, and it actually goes back to the previous point, is very simple. The interest on Litecoin does appear to be there. Just look at stuff like this, trending on Binance. This was just a couple of days ago, 6 days ago. And then, of course, we've got that news, that information about how transactions really are picking up in the last couple of months. This is the sort of stuff that you want to see, and it depends obviously on what approach you want to take. Obviously, I've got an interest in looking at the charts, but more broadly guys, I'm looking at this one personally as a bit more of a long-term play, at least for the next few months. So those are kind of going to be the price levels that I personally am looking for. Others may say differently, that's of course up to them. I'm looking to break past this 130, 132 mark and then potentially on past there, but it's going to be about seeing if we can even do that in the first place. Do bear in mind this has been quite a steep run. Again, not unprecedented, but the question is, are we going to have another slow fall back down, just like we saw obviously here, just like we saw here as well, or could we see something, a bit more broad or a bit more broadly related to some of the jumps that we've seen in the past? Are we looking at a stage where we're more like here and there's more room to run? I'll leave you guys to make your minds up on that in the comment section, but thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and I do hope I'll see you again in another one. Thank you, and see you again soon.